All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at this next session. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues, but we are here with the amazing Jessica Archeval from JLA Interiors, who specializes in high-end residential and commercial interiors. And she's going to be talking today about how to build a successful turnkey boutique interior design practice from scratch, which especially resonates with us at Foyr Neo, as we hope to empower people with our software to do just that. So without further ado, Jessica.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So appreciate it. All right. So I guess we have only 30 minutes and we're a little behind. So I'm going to just start with the presentation. And then we can talk a little bit about me. And as we go through the process of the presentation, just want to make sure you guys can see my screen. Are we screen sharing right now? Are you guys able to see that?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. Perfect. Okay, great. All right, so guys, a little bit about me. My name is Jessica Archeval. I'm the owner of JLA Interiors. We are located in New Jersey, but we do service the tri-state area. I'm gonna basically tell you guys a little bit of how I went from corporate. So I can only tell you what I did and how it worked for me and just going through the proper steps. So I will say that I did not take any shortcuts. So I'm gonna give you guys the ingredients of what it took for me to go from corporate background and open up my own boutique interior design service. The first question I want to ask is turnkey. A lot of people don't know what turnkey means. So I'm going to start with just giving you guys a little bit of a background on what that means. Turnkey is basically, simply said, concept to completion, which means you're going to manage the job from the initial concept of design all the way to completion and turnover to your client. I see that a lot of times working with clients, they want to work with one person, and they want to trust you to get the job done and to execute all the way through. So for some people who wonder, well, what does that include? I just gave a little bit of a list of kind of what's included on a turnkey service. So you need to survey the job correctly. So you need to understand architecturally the space. So whether you're doing one room or a full amenity space, you're going to have the knowledge of going in and measuring and inputting. So with that said, in order to have a turnkey business, I'm going to suggest that you know AutoCAD or Revit, which are the two main programs that we're operating as interior architects and designers. So, step one, you're going to be able to survey your job and put that in input so that you can get some actual AutoCAD plans. You're going to be responsible to create construction documents. So having a full knowledge of construction documents, that's, your demo, your architecturals, your M, your E, your P. And I say M, E, and P, and I'm going to, again, let you guys know what that means. That's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So a lot of jobs are going to have electrical sheets, you're going to have plumbing sheets, and you're going to have mechanical. So you need to have knowledge of those disciplinaries in order to be a turnkey service, because your clients are going to look to you to one, create those drawings, to manage them, and to make sure that they're getting executed correctly. Construction documents as well. There are going to be jobs where architects are going to want your drawings to then translate into their drawings, then translate into permits and submittals. So you're going to have a strong knowledge of construction documents and being able to produce elevations, tags, details, transitions. I would say on the broad level, you're going to want to know how to do a floor plan, a finish plan, floor transition plans, elevations, RCPs, and any kind of detailing if you're doing any transitions from floors. Procurement and sourcing. You're going to be responsible for sourcing material. So originally, typically when we do these projects, we'll create a concept and a design. And then once the design is completed, we'll then go out to bid. And that's when you'll realize how much your design actually cost. I typically go out to bid for at least 2 contractors. I'm going to turn the sound off. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But at least 2 contractors we go out to bid for, and that way you'll start to understand what your material costs are and what your final budget is and how you're going to be able to pull that back for your client. And that goes into contractor bids and value engineering. You're going to have to understand materials, because you may go from hardwood to a vinyl floor or to a porcelain tile. So you're going to have to understand material, and you're going to have to be able to pull your project back and value engineer for your client. That's a big tool to have. And in order to value engineer, you're going to have to understand what things cost, and you're going to have to come up with design solutions if you end up being out of budget. Procurement and sourcing, I kind of skipped over that, but you're also responsible for ordering, processing, tracking, sourcing material, getting samples. So that also comes into being turnkey. Permitting and inspections. This is another thing that's very important. You're going to be responsible for handling permitting, inspections, whether you're working directly with an architect or you're a licensed interior designer, you can then sign. But for the most part, you're gonna be working with big architects. You're gonna have to be able to manage a permitting and inspection process for your client. You are basically the extension of your client's board. So when you do a boutique service, you're actually saying, I'm part of your team now. I'm your designer and I'm gonna help you get through this and I'm gonna make it fun and make it an experience. Submittals and shop drawings, you're gonna have to be responsible for everything as far as submittals. So when you go into construction, every material that you've selected, the contractor is responsible to get a sample of that and have you sign it along with your client. So you're going to be the one that's doing all the final cutoffs on the paint colors, the lighting, all the spec sheets. So there's a huge amount of project administration. So I just call that design project management. And then you'll go into ordering and staging, just making sure that everything is there on time, put together, staged, and turnkey, you're giving it over to your client. So that's a lot of what goes into it. Depending how big your project is, you'll be doing a lot of this or minimal, but these are basically your stand-all rules. So I came up with 5 top things for you to be able to have a successful business. The first one's to build yourself. And when I say build yourself, you have to build you before you can build anything else. A lot of people think that they can kind of just go into the business and roll with it. You're going to be picked out at the crowd immediately if you don't know what you're talking about. So what I say is educate yourself at the highest level. I personally went to college and I got a bachelor's degree. I went to the #1 school in the nation. I would say try to get the best degree you can get. You're going to get the best education out of it. Minimum bachelor's degree. If you have a previous degree in architecture, you may be going for a master's if you do decide to get a degree in interior design. Intern while studying. I'm going to say proceed with caution. I personally didn't have the luxury to intern for free. In college, for me, I needed to make money. So I worked in retail, and that goes into my next step when I say build your skills, because every step in life is preparing you for the future. So for me to sit in an intern office and, sometimes you're not really doing much. You're kind of just like organizing their library or, kind of doing scrap work. For me, I didn't want to do that. I said, I need to make money. I have to get myself through college. So although, it was on an academic scholarship, I still had to, work to, make ends meet and continue the lifestyle. They don't pay for everything. So when I say intern, proceed with caution, make sure that this internship is paid and that you're getting something out of it. When I was in college, I worked retail. And I think retail was great because I got to meet a lot of people and I got to understand people and I got to communicate with people. And that's the biggest skill, I think, in being your own business owner and entrepreneur is you have to be able to communicate with people. You have to be able to read a crowd and understand who you're dealing with. And that's how you can gear your energy to match that individual and be able to meet them, on a cohesive level. So when I say build your skills is, you might not have the luxury to work an internship. Don't feel bad. I didn't work an internship and I have become pretty successful. I think that every step you're in, try to take those skills and those tools, most likely communication skills, and build with that and know that this is your level and this is your steps to getting where you need to get to. And necessarily doesn't have to be what everybody else has gone through, but there's still value in just communicating and meeting people. I think communication skills is key. Learn every design program proficiently and understand the pros and the cons. Going to college, they're going to make you take these courses. You're going to know the AutoCADs, the Revits, the 3D Max, SketchUp, Photoshop, InDesign. You're going to need to know all these programs in order to run your business correctly and in order to facilitate and be able to provide all of these services to your client. I want to just give this gateway segue into Foyr and how this has changed the game. So anyone who knows AutoCAD, 2D, 3D, Revit, 3D Max, these programs are very difficult to work with. They do take a course to learn and more practice. I feel like Foyr is just such an easy platform to maneuver. It's constantly growing and adding, you know, different tools that a lot of these programs have. But what I will say is the end product is phenomenal. To get these renderings without having to tweak or throw light bulbs in your space, it's really phenomenal. So what I will say is, I think Foyr, one, we should be integrating this into interior design practice. That's the next goal. But learning all of these programs, you're going to be able to maneuver through the business a lot easier. And so I suggest to know your programs, know everything about your business. That way, when it's brought to your attention, you're able to answer these questions and move accordingly. There's no shortcuts to success. A lot of people just want the easy way out. There was no easy way. At least I didn't take the easy way out. So I'm going to say, in order to be the best, you need to work for the best. After I graduated college, I remember sitting in my professional practice class. I think it was a junior. And I remember my professor saying to me, if you want to find a job when you get out of college, this is where you start. And it's called Interior Design's Top 100 Giants. These are the top 100 firms in the country. So, you know, I'm assuming that there's people tuned in from all over. You want to go here. If you just got your degree and you want to know where you want to work for the best firm that's in your state, and they're top 100 in the country. So that's where you want to start. You want to work at a design firm and you want to apply your degree in real life. As great as my degree was, they didn't teach me half of what I was learned in the field. So I'm saying is pay your dues, build a strong resume and a portfolio. That's going to be your backbone to your business. So coming from the corporate background and, you know, working with clients, I worked with Coach, I worked with Kate Spade, I worked with Rag and Bone, Soul Cycle. You know, we did Soul Cycle in Canada. I did a lot of work in Canada, a lot of work outside the country, and that wouldn't have been possible had I not been to corporate and utilized my education to build the confidence. I think with knowledge comes confidence. I would have never been able to leave college and say, okay, I'm going to start a turnkey design service. You have to either work for someone who's doing it or work for the best of the best and obtain that knowledge before you can move forward confidently. Also, the clients that you're going to want to gear on this boutique service are going to be clients of a higher clientele. And so they're going to look for all of this information. They're going to look through your resume. They're going to do their research. So make sure, one, you're being truthful, and two, you're putting in your work so that they can respect that you put the time in to learn the trade, and they feel trusted in your hands. Build your way to the top. So basically, you know, when I left corporate, I held a manager position. It's a design manager, which is most likely a PM. So a lot of people say, you're so young, like how'd you open up your own degree? Like how'd you open up your own practice and you're so successful? I did it in probably half the time, but I worked very hard. I put a ton of overtime in. I put the hours in and I learned every part of the business. You gotta be different. You gotta stand out. You can't just go to work and do your job. You gotta go to work, do your job, and then look for other jobs to do. So what I say is be progressive and be aggressive in the corporate world. You wanna be able to stand out. Don't just come to work, clock in and clock out, because then you're truly not doing what you love. Go in there and get the best that you can get out of it. And if you know a lot of things, you're gonna be able to move a lot quicker through the system. In the project management position, you're going to be managing a team. You're going to be managing hours, project timelines, clients, job sites, and profit margins. This is where I caught the bug. I caught the bug when I started managing profit margins. And I was like, okay, well, I'm bringing in pretty profitable projects. And when you start to do the numbers and you realize what things are going out as, what they're coming back as, and what you're, you know, essentially getting paid for, you start to do the numbers and realize, okay, well, if this is how you operate a business, these are your overheads. This is how I can move forward and put business proposals together. So when you put a proposal together for turnkey, most of your clients are going to want a flat fee. They don't want change orders. They don't want to be billed hourly. If you take 14 hours to find a lounge chair, that's not their problem. What you need to do is you need to set up a strong knowledge for how long do things take to be done. And only way to do that is to live through it and to do it on someone else's dollar and learn, and then take that knowledge and move forward for your own projects. I would say that a position as a PM or a DM is about 6+ years of experience, minimum requirement. If you Google interior design project manager, they're looking for about 6 years minimum experience. I did it in 4. Bottom line is work hard, absorb as much information as you can. If you feel that the company you're at, you're not growing or they're not allowing doors to open for you, switch firms, go to the next best thing. be legit or quit. I'm all about keeping it real. So anybody who follows me or knows me, I like to be really transparent. And I like to keep it real. You don't fake it till you make it. This is real life. This is money. This is your career. This is your business. This is your reputation. If you go in there faking it, it's going to be terrible for you. One, you're not going to make it through the front door. So a lot of what people don't know is when you get these big clients, you're going to need to have a legitimate business. So when I say don't fake it till you make it, register your business. I'm giving you guys a suggestion. I used LegalZoom when I started my business. So that's a great starting point for you guys to get your business registered and put in the right paperwork. Open up a business account. You can't open up a business account if you don't have a legitimate business that's registered. So make sure you get the proper paperwork. And then you'll get in there. When you get a client, they're going to give you a business check. You cannot deposit that into a personal account. How do I know this? I tried. So this is basically my learning experience of going through the outlets. Get an accountant and set yourself up on payroll. As an individual designer, you want to be on payroll. You want to legitimize your business from day one. Don't wait. Don't say, I'm going to just go with the flow. Do it legitimate from day one. That's only going to make your business stronger. It's going to give you good business history. I put my accountant here. I'm on the East Coast in New Jersey. I use Spear CPA. He's in New York City, so he does service the tri-state area for small businesses. So that's a good start if you're on the East Coast. Get your business insurance. Most clients are going to require at least a minimum $1 million insurance. I use Hartford. A lot of people don't know where to start with insurance. Make sure you are insured. It's very important. And then you want to brand yourself and brand your business. What makes you different? As we know, this is a saturated industry, so you need to stand out from the rest. Aside from being legitimate, running your business, getting all the proper paperwork on the back end, make sure to brand yourself and brand your business. That's what's going to set you apart. And I think those details, the level of details in your graphics and your presentation is really going to be able to say, okay, well, this person has it all together. If they could brand themselves, they could brand and design us, no problem. Next one is build a solid network. You are only as good as your team. And what I will tell you that is, if you have questionable contractors or contractors that don't value as a designer or don't value their work, that's going to be a problem. So what I say is building a network is going to be one of your hardest challenges. But once you get a solid team, you're golden from there. So I would say make a strong relationship with at least 2 to 3 contractors, just in case you're doing different work. There's going to be work that's done residentially that you don't need, the licenses or the insurances. And then you're going to do bigger projects like lobbies and amenity spaces, which is, kind of my bread and butter, what I usually do. So those contractors are going to be able to manage these large projects. Build a strong relationship with at least 2 architects. You need architects on your team. They're going to be able to give you your structurals. They're going to be able to sign off on the drawings. So you want to get in with at least 2 strong architects, and that's probably be a good flow of additional work for you as well, if you're just getting started up. Build strong relationships with your vendors. This should start in corporate. When I worked for corporate, I also ran the design library, and that's where I started to get my knowledge of materials and wall coverings. You need knowledge of material in order to be a successful designer, because if you're putting things where they don't belong, it's going to be an issue. And then the client's going to come to you and say, well, why did you put this floor here when you knew we had high traffic? Now it's damaged. And then it just becomes a problem. So you need to know your materials and know how to use them and know where to use them and know when you're dealing with high traffic versus non-high traffic. You're going to have knowledge of material and finishes. You're going to have to be able to put in commercial finishes on high traffic areas and maybe more residential. So understanding materials and having a relationship with your vendors is going to be key, because one, they're going to push for you. They're going to get things through to you. They're going to, sometimes finagle pricing for you to get that product that you really want for your client. So what I would say is definitely build a strong relationship in the vendor world. There's a lot of shows out there. I mean, now with COVID, it's a little bit different, but what I will say is, the design shows, there's a really big one that happens, NY Now, there's the hospitality show in Vegas. So a lot of these shows are great for new designers to go out there and see materials, get your name on these vendor lists, and start to understand all the materials that are out there for you to utilize. Strong knowledge of material and finishes for value engineering. If I tell you how many times I have to value engineer, you wouldn't believe it. Value engineering is very, 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 very important. It's basically understanding the level of materials so that you can get your project to where you need to get it. being able to say, okay, well, we could take off this accent wall and just do one wall, but let's put this and utilize the budget this way. So understanding numbers, how things are built, very, very strong, important tool, and build a strong relationship with at least 2 local mill workers. When you do these jobs, it's all custom millwork. Most of the time, amenities, you're gonna need that perfect pantry and that certain color. You know, the panelings, all of the detailing, that's all millwork work. So I think having 2 really good mill workers is gonna be very important because they're gonna execute your designs. And you wanna get someone who's very meticulous. I'm in Jersey, I use Bespoke 7 as my #1 mill worker. So I can tag that information as well. These are great resources that took me time to establish. So I'm, you know, happy to lend that over to anyone on the East Coast. And number 5 is to be yourself. Be who you are, not who the world wants you to be. I struggle with this a lot because people feel like you need to operate a certain way. I think you need to be authentic to you. That's why you own your own business. That's why you're you and only you. So be authentic and own who you are as a person and run with it. Be your biggest fan. You know, there's a lot of times where you have to be your biggest fan in this field. You have to, you know, be able to talk yourself up because you're essentially selling yourself and your service. So if people don't vibe with you, most likely they're not going to hire you. I think everything, most of the time, you know, when I work with people, they say, Jess, you have a great resume. You know, you've done all the work, but we genuinely enjoy working with you. So personality and energy is everything. Your energy will introduce you before you even walk into the room. So with that said, make sure that you make this fun for people when they come in. You want to engage with your clients. You want to, you know, bring up the vibes, bring up the energy, and make sure that you're bringing in a positive asset to the team. If you're there just like quiet, or, you know, you're not able to negate, you're going to sometimes be in the middle of things where you have to be like the peacemaker, or you have to be able to allow people to have their opinions and then come to a solution. So that communication and energy is going to be major. And then my last one is to know your worth and add taxes. A lot of times as designers, you get really scared. I have a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, you know, I don't know how much to charge. Like, I'm scared if I charge too much that the client's not going to move forward with me. I say charge what you're worth. And if it's meant to be and this job is meant for you, everything is going to work out. But I would never say to lower your value for a client. If anything, you should add taxes because the value you're putting in is so much greater. Design is your energy. And it all comes from within. Like, people think that this is like easy. We're just picking paint and we're just picking furniture. There's so much more to design, of like the environment and the managing and the project management, like we talked about on the second slide. So what I will say is definitely know your worth and add your taxes, and don't ever be afraid that a client's not going to pay your price. If they don't want to pay the price, then that's not your client. And you need to understand that and move forward, because all it will do is just deter you. If you do something for less than what you feel like you're going to do, you're going to lose that spirit in the process of it. You're going to be drained. You want to be happy when you're doing the job. You want to make sure that the job is worth it for you. And so that's my final key, is know your worth and add taxes. And then just special thank you to the Foyr family. This is my contact here, my email address. That's my Instagram handle. If anybody wants to reach out, I do mentoring for, you know, young startup interior designers. Want some that are in college. So you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me if you have any additional questions.
Thank you so much, Jessica. That was such a wonderful talk. So we are out of time, so we don't have time for a Q&A, but I encourage everyone to write down Jessica's email and visit her on Instagram, and feel free to ask your questions there. And now we have another talk coming up, which is a panel discussing strategic risk-taking to excel in uncertain times. So the link for that is in the chat, and we will see you over there. Thank you so much again, Jessica.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.